Looks good. I need to make an intro. I think that's what I need. I need an intro that will play so that I can turn it on and then have the intro play. And then after the intro's done, I can just start talking. And that would be so much easier than me just staring at it looking to see if the live stream turns on or off. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. I hope everything looks okay. I always get concerned with YouTube because I never know how things are shaping up. It's kind of a coin toss whether it's going to work properly or not. Looks like it's working though. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 71 of Gear Talk. Gear Talk is the show that I do every other week where I talk about the geekier side of rollerblading. If you know the difference between 85, 88, 90, 92, and 95, and you know you can do gaps on any of them, then you've come to the right place. Gear Talk is the show that we break down all of the confusing things about skates, and we try to make your setup optimized for the way that you skate so that you can skate better and the skates work for you. Before I get started, I always like to thank the Helmet Initiative for helping us with our helmet giveaway. We do a helmet giveaway for every episode of Gear Talk. This is something that I'm a huge proponent of. I think anytime you skate, you should definitely be wearing a helmet. It's super easy to put your helmet on. Just put it on your head, clip it on, good to go. It's one of those pieces of equipment that can really save your life. There's nothing like getting a traumatic brain injury to mess up the rest of your life. So everybody should be wearing a helmet when you skate. It's super easy to do, especially if you've got kids, not only to keep your kids reminded that they should be wearing their helmets, but to stay alive so that you can take care of your kids. If you need a helmet, we love to give away a helmet. If you go to backtoblading.com/helmet, we have a link where you can sign up to win a helmet. That link is live for the next 12 hours or so. So I turn it off after Gear Talk. But if you would like a helmet, I'll put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. There we go. Backtoblading.com/helmet. We would love to get you a helmet. It's super important. I think the more people out there wearing their helmets, the better. It's this weird taboo thing that when we were kids, we never wore helmets. You know, I never wore a helmet as a kid unless I was at a skate park. And I think that's absolutely stupid. I think you should wear a helmet whenever you skate because you never know what's going to happen. You could be the best skater and you could fall down and hit your head. And that could be a huge deal to your livelihood, let alone your life. So let's make sure that we share the word. Skate with your helmet whenever you can. If you need a helmet, we would like to help. We're going to be giving away one helmet for every episode of Gear Talk. Thanks again to the helmetinitiative.org for sending us some helmets to give away. And thank you to the Patreon for helping us with the funds so that we can ship them out wherever we need to get them around the world. I also like to start talking about the skates that I'm on. So typically I do big wheel skating and I do aggressive skating. I haven't been able to do much big wheel skating lately, unfortunately. It's been really cold and wet outside. I was planning on doing some last weekend, but it was raining. It looks like it's going to be kind of dry this weekend, so I hope to get out and do some big wheel skating. But I did definitely do some aggressive. I was here at the warehouse and I was able to do a little session, and I also did a quick live stream on my USD sways. So I can't remember the last time that I skated a skate for review as long as I've skated these sways. This has been a changing setup for me. I really, really like these boots. I think the sole plate is ideal. It's a nice wide sole. It's got a really great groove. I think the boot fits me really nicely. I think the addition of the 45-degree strap is really what seals it for me. Having that 45-degree strap really cinches down my foot into the boot, and it feels really solid in there. The boot is a little flexy. I don't know that I mind that so much. I am going to skate, hopefully, if the weather permits, I am going to skate Marsh this weekend, which is an outdoor skate park with a bit of a bowl area. I've skated it before with these skates and I liked it, but I want to try it again and try to get some air and such. Last time I went, I don't know that I was really feeling it. This time I'm going to force myself to get some air, try to skate the skate park a little differently, and see how it feels carving around bowls. That's usually the biggest problem when you get a flexi skate. The problem with this skate is that this cuff area is just so flexy. You can see this little tongue area in the back. It just becomes this floppy mess. And you could feel in the cuff or in the boot, I mean, this area is just, it's very flexy. Now it's better than being too stiff. Like it does cinch your foot down when you tie up your laces, but I would like something a little bit in the middle, I think. I'm also a huge fan of the USD carbons. I think that's my overall favorite skate. I haven't skated them in a little bit, but that is a mix of a soft boot and a carbon shell. I think for a plastic boot, this is probably my favorite plastic boot right now. Right up there with probably the Razors SL, which is a great skate, and probably the USD Aeon if somebody were getting back into it. The Aeon feels completely different than this, but because it is a single piece design and because it comes with an amazing flat frame, it's really an amazing skate for people that are just coming back that don't really know what to get. You can't go wrong with a USD Aeon. Of course, I'm skating the new Prime frames. So these are the Fitty Fitty Prime frames that we announced last Gear Talk. I've been skating them anti-rocker. This coming weekend, I'm going to skate them flat. So this is a flat 6088. I was going to try them 6090. That's the way that we're going to have them available in the store. But I wanted to try the 88s because I don't have any 90s in stock. So I've got 6088s. I'm going to skate them 6088. The flat setup is really good. I don't know that I've skated the flat setup outside in like ledge situations. Actually, I take that back. I have. I skated them at Durham really quickly and just did a few grinds on that top ledge. Skating them at Marsh, though, is going to be something different. I love that ledge. And me being able to do all of my grinds will be a really good indicator whether this flat setup will work the way that I think it will. I have no problem skating them in the warehouse, but that is a coping setup. So typically I think flat setups, any flat setup should be able to skate pretty well with coping. It's on ledges that it's really the test. So it's the front royale, the back royale. That's where you get the most wheel bite. Hoping that I don't have any issues with it. I'm not the best ledge skater, especially skating flat. But if I can make it work, I mean, anybody can make it work. 6088 is a really great hardness for me. The size is really nice. These Prime frames, there's a 120 millimeter split with a really nice H-block. So this is something that I feel like anybody could skate flat. If you're struggling a little bit with the 60s, I've skated them with the 58s with the face profile, and it is a much easier ride when you're skating flat. You won't get the speed that you get with the 60s, but if you're worried about wheel bite, I think flat 58 is going to be really nice. I've even seen some setups with flat 56s with the Prime frames, and it works, because the distance between the axle and the top of the frame isn't so much, it's not this huge wheel bite protection sort of concept. It's a flat frame, but it's designed for any rocker. So it can handle those smaller wheels. So flat 56 would actually work just fine. And that's probably if you were looking for the optimal flat setup with these frames, just for grinding to reduce wheel bite, flat 56 is probably the way to go. But I'm excited about the 60s. I think skating flat, skating with a metal internal, gotta skate 60s. That's going to be the speed. That's going to be the sweet spot that you get. What else to say about this skate, though? It's an amazing skate. At $170 too, boot only. I mean, it's really hard to beat this skate for quality, for features, for everything. Even the internal liner, the built-in liner, was really nice. This RL1 that I'm skating, I really like. I think it's a better liner than the Fat Boys that came on the Monterey Sways to begin with. But definitely nothing wrong with the Monterey, the Fat Boy liners. They were great. These are just a little bit more my style, I think. A little bit thinner, maybe not so much padded. I don't know. Liners are hard for me. Liners are hard. I can tell when I don't like something, But when I do like something, it's hard. It's hard to, they all just kind of into this bucket of, like, if I don't like something, I know like 5 reasons why I don't like it. When I do like something, it's like, oh, this liner just feels like it should. And that's great because that means I don't have to buy $200 Intuitions. I like the liners that I have. These were $180, I think. So they're not cheap liners, but I was still very happy with the Fat Boys, which is, you know, is saying something of a cheap date, I guess. Yeah, really like this setup. Loving the whole thing. Skating 65s anti-rocker was really nice. 65s on the outside, you get that nice coast. You don't have the acceleration that you get with 60s, but you get that nice coast. Everybody loves the nice coast. So you get a little bit of speed, you just kind of sit back, and it just kind of brings you along, like towards the ledge, instead of having to skate to maintain speed, like you're skating 55s or something like that. More news on the Prime Frames in a little bit. This also is a really good opportunity to ask questions. So we're super excited about the Prime Frames. I've gotten a huge response. Thank you all for joining me last week and or 2 weeks ago, last Gear Talk, and asking all of these great questions. I have watched that show a couple of times, the replay, just to see what people were asking in the live chat. And I'm blown away by the support. I just wanted to say thank you all. We do have some good updates on the Prime Frames. Would be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I have a few questions that were asked that I wanted to answer that I took down. If you've got questions, make sure that you throw them in the chat. Just make sure that you tag @BackToBlading so that I can see them. And if you've got questions that you don't want to talk about in the live chat, maybe something specific about an idea that you had for a frame, you can always send me an email. There's a contact form on the webpage, either the Fitty Fitty Frames one or Back to Blading webpage. I get both of them, so feel free to send me a message that way. Love to hear from you. Yeah, thanks again for the support. This has been overwhelming, to say the least. All right. I was skating, so when I was skating in my warehouse, I got a new rail. If you saw the video, I got myself a Sub Rosa rail. So this is not here because it's 8 feet long, and this is like 8 feet right here. So I don't have room to bring it in here, and it would just be a complete mess. But it is one of those breakdown assembly sort of hard metal rails. When we were growing up, we didn't have anything like that. We would make rails out of anything that we could find. We would buy, metal piping. We would acquire metal piping from construction sites or fences that might have long metal piping. And we would mount them to 2x4s or, a 2x6 or something like that, and then prop them up. And people still do that. That's absolutely fine. The nice thing about these metal rails is that you can break them down and throw them in your car and bring them to a spot. You can break them down and put them in your garage and set them up and then skate them and then break them down so that you can pull your car out again. I've had plenty of practice rails at my house, and they all end up getting not used or broken down. And the reason is they're always in the way. I don't have room in my driveway or something to put a practice rail or a ledge or a coping box or something like that. And they can be heavy. So you got this big 4x4 block with PVC on top or something like that. Where are you going to put that? And then how do you move it around? There's definitely ways to do it. Don't get me wrong. And this is a luxury. The rail was $230. I think I paid $240 with shipping. You can get them for like $225, so it's not a cheap rail, but for what it is, it's probably the best of the inline skate style rails that you can get. So it is designed for BMX. It is super, super solid. It has 2 parts that connect and then a little tube that goes in the inside that connects the two, and then you screw a few bolts up into the bottom. And that creates this bridge so it connects the 2 sides. They are 1.5 to 2 inches. I didn't measure them, but I think they're 2-inch rails. So they're a little thicker than a normal handrail, but it's 18 inches tall, which is the same height as my box with 2 of the footings on them, 2 of the risers. That means that when I was skating the rail, it felt like I was just skating the box. It was the same jump. It was the same approach. It was the same everything. And it was amazing. I was able to do most of my, safety tricks, the warm-up tricks, which is a huge accomplishment for me. I don't get to skate rails very often. And that was why I wanted to get this in the first place. I wanted to get a rail so that I could go out there, and when I saw a rail at a skate park, when, we're out street skating or something and I see a rail, I can actually try it. I shouldn't be sitting back watching. Like, I should be able to do some of the rail. Like, I want to be able to session it a little bit. So my goal is that I'm going to learn 2 tricks on each side. I'm going to practice my mistrial on the right. I feel like the mistrial is going to be a really safe sole trick. I remember back in the days jumping on sole and missing my sole foot and just going straight to my ribs. I feel like that's going to be less of an issue with a mistrial because I'll have that back foot on. So long as I lock that back foot on, that will kind of catch me if I don't lock properly. And I'm going to do my back farv on the right side, which is probably my safety trick for groove tricks. I'm really solid with my back farv. I've got to get that confidence so that I can jump on it. But that, again, is why I have this rail. On the left side, I'm going to try to do Royale. I've already got Royale on the left side for rails. And then I want to learn my far side sole. So top side sole, I don't know what you kids call it nowadays. But when we were growing up, it was a far side sole. So I want to do right foot sole. I feel like that's going to be a harder trick for me to learn, but once I get it, because it's my normal sole and my sole foot is super solid, I'm going to be able to lock on and just kind of ride it forever. So those are my 2 tricks. If you are interested in watching, we do live streams, usually on Thursdays. So I'll probably do a live stream tomorrow, usually on Thursdays around lunchtime in the warehouse. And I'm going to try to do that top sole tomorrow, I hope, if I don't get too nervous. Trying to do a top sole on that shouldn't be too difficult. I've done top soles with my right foot before. I usually do top acid with my left foot, so top side tricks with my right foot's a little weird, but a top sole feels like a regular sole. I should be able to do it. We'll see. Getting a rail has given me some confidence. And honestly, getting the prime frames with a deeper groove has given me confidence as well. The balance frames, love them as much as I do. They're not the best rail for locking in solid on a handrail. They're really great for ledges, which is what I skate, and that's what I love about them. But if you want to skate a handrail, you don't need, but it's nice to get a nice groove. I don't break in frames very often, so it's nice to get a nice groove so that when you lock on a groove trick on a handrail, you've got a really nice solid connection. That's the feeling that I get with the prime frames. So a little bit of everything giving me that confidence, but stay tuned. I don't have any promises, but I've been looking at rails. I've got the eye now, so we'll see if I can pull it off. All right, let's talk about the prime frame. So I try not to pitch too much 50/50. Obviously, I'm one of the owners of 50/50. Full disclosure, everybody drink. I'm one of the owners of 50/50, and prime frames have been 3 years of my life. So forgive me for the next couple of episodes. I am going to talk a little bit about them. It's a huge part of gear. If I were doing this and if somebody else came out with a prime frame, I would be talking about it. I think it's a huge deal, and it's something that I've worked really hard on, and I hope that you all like it. Based on the response, it's been very positive. So I don't think anybody minds, but just full disclosure, I do own the company. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that, and I'm going to be talking about prime frames a little bit. First, good news. So production is a little bit ahead of schedule. They are finalizing the packaging now. I saw the sample prints, sent over some adjustments, and they're going into production for the packaging. They should be done with everything by Friday, if not Monday. So that means that we should have the frames on a boat by the end of next week. Huge, right? So I was planning on that happening, first week of April, and it's probably going to be around the first week of April. But that means that I can start opening up pre-orders. So for everybody who's been asking, when can you order? I wanted to make sure that there were no weirdnesses going on with production. As far as I can tell, everything is on schedule, and we should be done end of this week, beginning of next week, which means we're going to open up pre-orders this weekend. So if you've been waiting to get a pair of prime frames, you want to order a pair of prime frames, they will be on the website Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So that is when we do most of our pre-orders. Gives everybody a fair chance to order everything. I do think they're going to sell pretty quickly. I've sold a bunch to shops already. They have them on order. So if you don't get them from the website, definitely check in with your favorite shop. I love supporting shops. I think we do this so that we can get shops product so that they can get more people into rollerblading. You know, there are people out there interested in getting back into skating. They might not necessarily find my YouTube channel. What they would do is look and see if there's a skate shop local to them. And that's super important. The more local shops that we have, the better. So if you support your local shop, great. I would love nothing more than all of our shops to sell out as well. So we will have a bunch, I hope. If we sell out, make sure that you check out your shops. We will have a few options. So let me walk you through the line real quick. We will have, so this is what the frames will look like. This is all 3D printed, just full disclosure. None of this, the axles are real and the frame fixtures and the wheels are real. But this is a 3D printed core, but it will be silver in production. 3D printed walls, but they will be injection molded for production. This is the white version. White will come with the black axles as well. With the silver, this is just a clear anodized aluminum. They will be 120 bucks complete. So that will come with the core, with the walls, with all the axles and the frame spacers for 120 bucks. They will come in a nice box, just like the balance frames, with, you know, the full color print, you know, protective box. You'll be able to see through the inside so that you can see what color they are, all that sort of things. We love packaging, and I think it's important that we have packaging for stuff like this. Two sizes, 270 and 250. 250 is the medium, 270 is the large. Pretty much the same as the balance frames. I think actually these are a little bit longer. So I think the balance frames are technically at like 268 instead of 270. It's really hard to tell with calipers. Technically, I think these are actually 271. But we say 270, it's pretty close. 270 and 250 will be available. They'll be available in black as well as white walls at launch for 120 bucks. The next option, if you were interested in getting some freestyle walls. So we will have both of the freestyle walls available for pre-order on Saturday. So they will be available in black and white. This is for pre-orders. At launch, we will have different colors. But for pre-orders, we're going to just limit it to black and white. And the reason is, I'm a little worried that we're not going to be able to fulfill all of the 3D printed orders by launch if we open up to different colors and such. I want to make sure that people can get the frames that they want if they pre-order them. So I'm going to make sure that we prioritize black and white. It's an easy run for us to do. We've got black and white filament already in the printers. So we'll do the freestyle frames in black and white for pre-order. And then when we launch, hopefully when the frames come in, we'll be able to ship all of the pre-orders complete. So if you ordered extra frame walls in freestyle, we will be able to send those out with the prime frames as well. And then we'll start opening up requests for colors. Colors available will be the three primary colors. We'll do red, yellow, and blue. And those will be available in freestyle as well as the prime walls. Those will be available at launch, and they'll be first come, first serve. Now, that doesn't mean we're gonna run out. That means that it takes like 2 days to print. So these things are, this is a fully 100, put this over here. This is a 100 fill 3D printed wall. This is the prime frame in a 270. And it is a lot of filament. This frame itself takes a day and 7 hours, so like a day and a half, give or take. So it's about 3 days for 2 of these frames to print. That is something that we're going to have to figure out. We've got 2 printers now. I'm gonna have a few people help me out with printing, but I wanna make sure that when you place an order, first of all, you have an expectation of when you're gonna get it, right? And secondly, you'll get it within a timely manner. I don't know what the response is going to be like. The reason we're limiting it to just black and white at launch is because I wanna make sure that, for pre-orders, is I wanna make sure that when people pre-order, we can fulfill all of those orders when they come in. When they're colors, I think what we're going to have to do is some sort of a queue so that you can see when your frames are getting printed, when they're going to be available, that sort of thing. Again, I'm all for over communicating. This is something that hasn't been done in the industry, and I don't know how to do it properly. So I ask for some patience with this process. We are doing our best. For all I know, there won't be a problem, right? For all I know, we'll be able to keep up. But I want to make sure that I set expectations properly. When you order a frame from FittyFittyFrames.com or BalanceDistribution.com, you'll be able to select any color you want, and you'll be able to buy them. The walls will be $50 for the 3D printed versions. The prime frames complete will be $120. And you'll be able to get a date on when you'll be able to get them. That's going to be tricky, and I'm going to do my best to get those dates accurate. Printer failures happen sometimes, all that stuff. We will learn, we will figure it out. Again, appreciate your patience when we get through this. When we talk about, I'll talk about the marketplace in a little bit. There's a lot to cover there. Pre-orders though. So pre-orders this Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. The prime frames will be available, $120 in white or in black, 2 different sizes. We'll also have the freestyle walls available, white and black, 2 different sizes. We are going to do some special bundles. So we will have a bundle with a set of prime frames with the other color. So if you wanted to get, it really doesn't matter. You'll get a black and white wall, right? So you'll get a set of prime frames, and then you'll get a black wall as well. So you'll have a replacement wall you can put a different setup on. You can set that up for flat, you could set that up for anti-rocker, and then swap them around. That extra wall will be $40 for this bundle, so the total will be $160. When we launch with the walls, they'll be $50, so you'll save $10 by getting that 2-wall bundle. We'll also have some completes. So one of the things that we love doing is having a recommendation of which frames, recommendation to show which wheels we recommend in the frames. And this is going to be a fun one. We've got some limited edition 50/50 wheels coming in stock. So they will be here the first week of May. They are $65.90 for the anti-rocker setup, and they are $60.90 for the flat setup. No big deal, right? The same as we always have. Well, this is going to be different. They're going to have a metallic silver paint. You know where this ring is for the 65 and all of our 50/50 wheels? So we use the different color gray to designate what color, what hardness the wheels are. So the 90 is a really dark color. This color is going to be metallic silver. So it's going to match the cores really nicely. It'll match any aluminum frame that you might have out there. They will be available in the flat setup for $60.90s. They'll be available in the anti-rocker setup with UHMW juice blocks, or UHMW anti-rocker wheels, not juice blocks. I think they're going to be $200 for the flat setup, which I know it sounds like a crazy number. $40 for a set of wheels, $80 for a set of flat wheels. They include bearings and the bearing spacers. So it is a great deal. Typically our bearings go for $20 a pop. So you'll be saving like $40 on the deal. But it sounds like a big number. These are high-end frames. I'm still trying to get my head around it because we're so used to selling balance frames, which are some of the least expensive ones. And here we have this extruded aluminum, crazy over-engineered system. So yeah, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't that much, I guess. The anti-rocker setup will come with $65.90. It'll come with the UHMW anti-rocker wheels, and those will be $190. So $190 and $200 for the completes. Again, those are the limited edition wheels with the silver metallic paint, so we won't have those for long. As soon as they sell out, they sell out. We got more of the 60s than we did the 65s because we wanted to make sure that people could skate flat with the 60s. They will be available as well. I think shops will be able to pick them up, and we'll be selling them outside. But if you want a bundle, that is going to be the best bundle to get. As always, we usually have shirts and stuff available. So we will have this shirt. So this is just the black stamp logo with the white and the charcoal outline. They also are available in hoodies. So if you want to get a hoodie, we'll have bundles with this as well, with hoodies and prime frames. We haven't done this one in a while. This is the Subtle Stamp shirt. So it's a black shirt with the stamp logo outline in charcoal. I keep saying charcoal a lot. Well, charcoal is the color of the new 50/50 backpack. So we got these in this week. The 50/50 backpack project, we started back in probably 2001, and we reintroduced it 2 years ago. The first one was a bunch of different shades of gray. It is a overnight bag, kind of like a weekend trip bag. We brought them back in different shades of gray for the first time, and then last time we did a gray camo with red, as well as a black backpack with charcoal. This time we're flipping it. So instead of the black backpack with charcoal, we have a charcoal backpack with black. So this is the 50/50 backpack. This fits everything that you need. It's got 2 sections in the front. This is where I put my wax and my tools. I put my session saver. I put my gear. I put my hardware, stuff like that. This bottom section fits frames really nicely. If you've got compass frames or you've got replacement frames, you can put them under here. Put your selfie stick in here. This top section, I usually put my cell phone. You put your drone in there. Yeah, I put my drone in there. You could put your wallet. You could put all that sort of stuff. It's got pockets on the side for your drink. If you want to put your water bottle in there, which I happen to have. Slides nicely in the side. It is open, so I want to make sure I don't spill too much. Fits water bottle perfectly. Take that out so I don't make any more messes. Skate holders on the side. So these unclip. And you're able to put your skates on. Go to the website, you can see the whole thing in action. And it has a laptop holder in the back. So you can clip this out. And if you need to bring your laptop with you when you go somewhere, as soon as we start flying again, it's got a little laptop section back there, nice and padded. And it's got some really nice beefy straps, double chest strap. You know the 50/50 backpack, you've seen this before. This is the new colorway. This is for 2021. These are already on their way to shops, so they should have them this weekend as well. We'll have them for pre-order on Saturday. New this year, we have a new camera kit accessory. So this thing is really cool. This is a compartment that fits inside the backpack. It fits in any of the backpacks. So if you had an old one from last year or the year before, it'll fit in there. These are Velcro. So these walls are adjustable. So you can go in and you can move the wall around if you've got different camera gear or something. It's a nice to have if you use the bag for camera equipment. These are going to be $20 in shops. So super affordable. You don't have to get it if you don't want it, but if you do want it and you're the sort of person that likes these different compartments, this is a really great setup. Slides right into the backpack. So you should be set, no problems there. And it does work with the black one, the camo one, and the original gray one that we came out with 2 years ago. And then finally, of course, we always do a crazy bag. So this was designed by Jess Deerenforth. Jess is the founder of 50/50. He is the man behind the amazing colorways that we come out with. This was his baby. This is one that I think is gonna sell really quickly. So if you want to get this bag, make sure that you get it when it drops on Saturday. This is the This is the new camo with orange 50/50 bag. So it's got the amazing camo. It's got the bright orange zippers. Same design, just a different colorway. Talk about a look. What a crazy looking backpack. So we have a very limited run of these. This material was hard to find. So we only got like 80 of them made, maybe 90. Half of them are already gone on their way to shops. So if you want to support your local shop, make sure that you give them a call, see if they've got them. We will have a bunch of these available on our store. You can order them with the Prime frames. We will have a special limited run stamp logo t-shirt, which will have an orange outline, same shirt as I'm wearing now, orange outline with a camo fill. It's a direct-to-garment print, so it's going to be full color. Amazing looking shirt. I get them in on Friday, so we will have them soon. Limited run though, so it'll match this backpack really nicely. It's a black shirt. These also fit the camera kit. Backpacks are $90, so you'll be able to get this with the camera kit for $110, I think. We'll also have some deals with session savers and such if you want to throw a session saver in there. I love this. This is an amazing bag. So I'm going to bring this with me this weekend, of course. Absolutely love the way Jess looks at colors. He's got such an eye for it. Anyway, always with the new stuff. Spring is always a fun time here at Fitty Fitty. Always have something new for you. All right, let me get some water. All right. I think I got everything about the pre-orders coming on Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. If you need them, make sure that you support your local shops if you can. We'll have the bundles with the wheels ready to roll for 190 and 200, flat or anti-rocker with UHMW anti-rocker wheels. I haven't talked about the open source of the frames yet. So one thing that I talked about last time was that the core system is a system, and it's not just the frame that you see here, and it's not just the, oh, here it is. It's not just the freestyle walls that we have available. Because this core is modular and designed for different frame walls to work with it, we're going to see a bunch of different designs coming out from developers who have an idea of what they want their perfect frame to look like. So we have open sourced this design. What that means is you could go and get the schematics for the core. You could download them to your computer. You can put them in SolidWorks. You could put them in your Fusion 360, your 3D modeling program of choice. You could print this to a 3D printer. This is a 3D print so that you can see how they fit. And then you can design your own frame walls. So you can say, with this fix of 270, this is actually 250, 250 millimeter 1:4, where would I want the wheels? You know, what kind of frame do I want? Do I want to make an anti-rocker frame? Okay, let's make a nice deep groove with some anti-rocker wheels so that I don't get wheel bite. Let's make a nice flat frame that has, you know, a huge split with a sunken wheel protection area. There are an unlimited amount of ideas out there, and we want to make sure that developers have all of the tools that they need to get their dreams out there and to design their own frames. So we've open sourced this system. We sent out a preview of the core developer kit last week, and we've already seen some amazing designs pop up on Facebook and Instagram. And it's been incredible to see the amount of really smart people out there who are just looking for an excuse, looking for a reason to design something. You know, they've got this tool, now they can do something that they love. You know, it's always hard to design something if you don't have an idea around it. But these people know skating. You know, just like I knew skating. I knew what I wanted in a frame. They know what they want in a frame, and now they have a way to make it. So the core developer kit is going to be released to the public on Friday. That means that anybody out there will be able to go over to our webpage and download the core developer kit, get a overview of what frame development is all about, download sample files, and get started designing their own frames. When somebody designs a frame wall, they have three options of what they want to do with it. First, they can give it away for free. So absolutely fine. We are open sourcing this system, so you can use this core to design whatever walls you want and do whatever you want with them. So you could design your favorite amazing wall. You could give away the source code to it. You could print them out and give them to your friends. You could print them out and just skate them yourself. You could really do anything you wanted to. If you wanted to sell your walls, so a lot of people have said, hey, I want to design my frames and I want to have a way that I can sell them. We will allow anybody to sell any walls that are compatible with the core system free of charge. So there's no licensing fee, there's no royalty fee. All that we ask is you send us a picture so that we can take a look at it and we can share it with our community so that people can see there are different walls out there. We want to promote this as a system, and that is the focus of the core system too. So anybody can go out there and sell the walls that they make. You can sell the files, you could print them and sell them, anything you want to do. If you need help with hardware, so hardware is going to be a little weird. We will have a developer program that you'll be able to sign up for, and you'll be able to get special pricing on hardware. So that includes the axles, and it includes the frame spacers and frame bolts. If you wanted to have a ready-to-roll setup, something like that, you would be able to buy any of the Fitty products for the core system at a discounted price so that you can extend that price over to your customers if you wanted to sell a wall for them so that they didn't have to go to one place to get the wall, go to another place to get the hardware. We want to be able to give you that opportunity to sell everything under one roof. So if you would like to do that, more information on that to come. As you can imagine, we're not totally set up for that yet, but we will try to help you with hardware if you need it. And based on the response, we'll be able to order a lot more hardware so that we'll have it in stock for you. The third option, so if you're interested in having us sell them, so we will be opening up a core frame market. And what that means is there will be a website where people can go and they can look at all of the different core frame options out there and buy whatever frame they want. So this is where the 3D printing comes in. So because we're able to 3D print these walls, we're able to do very low runs of different colors and different designs without having to open a mold, without having to invest a ton of money. Whatever you design, we can print. So there will be some rules around what we'll allow on the store or on the market. We're saying the market. So what we'll allow on the market. Most importantly, we want to make sure that you have a unique idea. I don't want to see 700 of the same frame on there. And I don't want to see copycats of existing frames on the market. Like if you came out and you had a balance frame, I would say, you know what, you probably shouldn't copy that. Or if you had, a featherlight, or if you had a fluid frame, it should be your design. We want to showcase your design, not how well you can copy somebody else's design. So the market is going to be for unique frame designs. We're also going to allow only one frame wall per designer on the market. And the reason for that, you might say, well, why not have more? The reason for that is we want to make sure that people can compete and have different ideas out there instead of one designer having 20 ideas out there. I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to sell their walls. Now, I will say the Fitty walls, the Prime walls, and the Freestyle walls will not be on the market. This is completely separate from 50/50. There will be no 50/50 branding on the market. It will be all about the core system too. We are investing heavily in this as a system, as an aftermarket system for frame development. We want to help developers make their frames. We don't want Fitty to be part of that. We will definitely help if you need any technical guidance, and we'll help with hardware. But our walls will stay a balanced distribution. They'll stay with the shops. You can obviously sell to shops if you want, but the core frame market is not going to have any Fitty product on there. It will be strictly for third-party developers. What else was there? A couple other things that we're going to do. All of the walls need to be one piece. This is kind of in the weeds, like a little inside baseball, but all of the walls need to be one piece because it's hard to print multiple piece walls and then have assembly and everything. So we're going to make every wall that's available on the core frame market one piece. They will all use core axles. So those are the new one-sided axles. They'll all have to use those core axles. So, you could have 2 wheels, you could have 4 wheels, you could have 8 wheels, you could have as many wheels as you want in your frame. But your frame needs to use the core axles. And that's just to make sure that it's standard. We want to make it really easy for all of the customers out there to pick up frames and not have any questions. Like, 3D printing is scary and frame design is scary. We want to take away the guesswork so people can just experiment with different frame options and not have to worry, oh, what axles do I need? What wheels do I need? All that stuff. Don't worry about it. Everything will take the core frame axles. Everything will be a one piece. Just slide it on your core system and you'll be able to skate. And then finally, we're going to fix the price at $50 for a set of walls. Now, that includes money for the people printing, money for the people who are the designers, and then a little bit of money for the market so that we can do credit card processing, so that we can host all of the stuff, keep the lights on, stuff like that. Now, we're still trying to work out that breakdown. We want to make sure that it is good for the designers to actually start a small business. This isn't going to be something that will be life-changing, I would think, but this could be something that maybe it would be enough money to pay your cell phone bill for the month, forever. Maybe it could be something that you can invest and get more 3D printers, or maybe you could get, computer or something like that. I do think that the market is big. Based on the response, I've had a lot of people out there who are just looking at these as limitless potential. And especially when we talk about international, having people who are supporting this market in different areas is going to be huge. The biggest problem now when I'm trying to ship frames over to the UK or to Australia is the shipping and the customs. If we could do away with that and then just send a file to a person who is licensed to print the frames down in Australia, it would be the same price. So we wouldn't have to worry about shipping. We wouldn't have to worry about customs. Absolutely no issues. That's where I'm super excited. I think it's going to be great. We do have shops all around the world who are picking up the frames. So you'll be able to get the frames from pretty much any shop. I've had a few dozen shops who I haven't spoken to in a long time who have said, hey, these new frames look great. How do I get some? So I have no doubt that your local shop will have prime frames. And if they don't have them, make sure that you ask and they'll definitely pick them up. And then we'll see what comes next. I think the market, I don't know when the market's going to launch, but it will definitely be live by launch, so by May. With the developer kit going live on Friday, that gives you at least a month to work on your frames, to design your frames, to figure out what works and what doesn't. We will have a limited amount of core bundles, developer bundles, for developers who are interested. Now, this is going to be kind of a lottery depending on how many we're able to get in. I don't think it's a lot. But now that the production is wrapping up, we're going to have a bunch of frames sent over for the team and a bunch of frames, cores sent over for developers to try their designs. That announcement will probably be next week. I will send out an email. I'll have that email sign up as well. I don't know pricing. It'll probably be $70, which is, not taking the money, but it's basically it's the cost of the prime frames without the walls. So it'll probably be $70. We probably won't have very many of them, but that will give you a skatable Core 2 core, as well as all of the hardware and frame spacers, so that you can print your walls, you can test your walls, you can refine your walls, so that when the core frame market launches in May, you'll be ready on day one with your frame design ready to sell. We hope to have more information in the coming weeks. I hope to have a video as soon as I can find some time. I wasn't expecting the backpacks to be here, to be honest. As soon as I can find some time, I want to sit down and do a complete walkthrough of what is in the core developer kit. do a video to show you how everything works and help people who have an idea but don't have the technical background, help them get their idea into a 3D modeling program and see if it's something that clicks. My dream, so I promise I won't be long. I started with Fitty Fitty back in 1996, and I was a college kid at San Jose State, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, as a college kid, you never know. Like, I went to school for business administration. Like, I don't even know what that is. But that was my major, and I found skating, and I loved skating. And then I found Sequence Magazine, which was an online magazine at the time, like a webpage that updated every month. And I found skating, and I said, you know, this is amazing. I'm learning so much that I would never learn through school. And I'm getting exposed to things that I never knew I was interested in. I would love nothing more than to help expose people to 3D modeling and product design and marketing. And this is something that I've learned because of skating. And now I have a successful career outside of skating as a result. If I can help anybody follow their passion and become a product designer, or at least know that they're not a product designer, that would be amazing. And I would love that. Everybody asks what the inspiration is for, skating doesn't have a lot of money, right? What's the inspiration of being in skating? Well, I love being in the industry because I can give back to the industry. And if I can give back to somebody who is interested in being a designer and just doesn't have the tools, doesn't have the push that they need, that's what I'm here for. So I'm really excited about the Core Developer Kit. Please sign up if you're at all interested, and please support these developers. $50 isn't a ton of money to ask for somebody's hard work, somebody printing it out, and then having a brand new, maybe custom color frame that you can put on your skates and you go out and skate. And maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it. That's what skating's all about. I don't know how many pair of skates, actually I do know how many pair of skates I have, but I don't know how many pair of skates I've tried on in order to find the right fit for me. That's what's so fun about skating as an adult. We have a little bit of disposable income that we can invest in skating. And by buying new frame walls, you are investing in these developers and saying, hey, I want to try your product. And they will get paid and they will learn and they will grow their business. I'm super excited about it. So anyway, if you have any questions on the core system that I did not address, I would love to answer your questions. I'm going to get some more water and I'm going to look through the chat. I have a few questions that were asked over the week that I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to take a little water and then I'll check for your questions. If you do have a question and you're in the live chat, please make sure that you tag Back to Blading so that I can see it. All right, going from the top. Alex, hey, aloha. I hope everything is good. Kauai is amazing. I always say that. Kauai is amazing. Hope you are well and hope that everything is good. Von Ryan Victoria, will we ever see a version 2 of the 50/50 bag? You just did. Chris P, how do the RL1 compare to Intuition liners? Well, the biggest difference is the price is negligible. $200 versus $170. If you're looking at $170 for a liner, don't consider the price. Like, you're already spending way too much for liners, in my opinion. Get the Intuitions if that's it. If the $30 is going to make a difference between getting these and getting the Intuitions, you probably shouldn't be spending $170 on liners. Like, you should probably be saving that money. Like, if you can swing $170 for a liner, there's no reason you couldn't swing $200. The biggest difference for me was the toes. I think overall this liner is very similar. It's a very similar feel like a very similar like foam. It's a very rigid feeling, very supportive feeling. But the biggest difference is the toes. And I know that Intuition actually tried doing their liners without the neoprene at the top, at the front. So they tried it with the neoprene, I'm sorry. So they had, just like this, they had the liner and then they had the neoprene toe at the front. And it felt sloppy. So I think that is the biggest difference between the RL1s and the Intuitions. If you know that the Intuitions fit your feet perfectly, get the Intuitions. I don't think there's any reason not to. I think the Intuitions are an exceptional liner. If you're looking at a high performance liner, Intuition is a great liner to get. If they fit your feet perfectly, there's no reason you shouldn't get them. If you don't know that they fit your feet perfectly, or if they don't fit your feet perfectly and they're a little tight, this will give you an extra centimeter or so of wiggle, so you'll be able to ride a really nice high performance liner, but you'll still have room in the front for your toes. That is the biggest difference between the RL1 and the Intuitions. Honestly, I think you would be happy if you can swing either of them. You would be happy with either of them. I think they're both great liners. I think Intuition might be a little better because it doesn't have the neoprene, because if it does fit your feet perfectly, it will provide a much more snug, responsive ride. But this is a nice little flexible area, so if you don't have that perfect foot, you can still get into a high performance liner. I hope that answers your question. I'm not a great Intuition rider. I have only skated them a couple of times, so I don't know everything about them. But the times that I did, the fit was all a little wonky. It just wasn't for me. I do love the RL1s though, and I plan on skating them for a while. Jeff Metz, can you try a negative mistrial during the next lunchtime live stream? I can, but there's no way I'm going to be able to do them like you can. These do have a pretty big negative though. I think I did a negative Machio that one time. I'll try a negative mistrial. If I remember, I'll do a negative mistrial. If I remember to do it, I will do it. Promise, absolutely promise. Somebody remind me. If you're on the live stream, remind me to do a negative mistrial tomorrow. Lee White, longtime viewer, first time watching the live stream, first time commenting from Australia. Well, good morning. I hope everything is good down there, and I hope to make it down there someday. I don't know if it's possible. There's so many amazing people down there that I'd love to visit and bring my kids, and I think Australia would be an amazing place. But maybe when they get a little older, I'll be able to come down and visit, and I'll definitely let you know. So we can have a nice meetup, nice session or something. Thanks for watching. Andrew Messersmith, if I was being stupid and wanted to skate without walls, is the core strong enough to handle that kind of force? Absolutely. The walls don't touch, so they will add support, but the walls really don't do much at all. It's really just a big grind plate. This is an extruded aluminum. This is 3D printed, so it's flimsy. This is an extruded aluminum frame. So it is definitely not as solid as a Sola frame or as a Symmetrix frame, but it is solid enough for what we do. I think there would be absolutely no problem skating it without the walls. I've never done it. But we skate, I mean, the walls don't touch, the walls don't come up to the top anyway. There's a gap between the bottom and the top. So the walls really, they're not doing anything. they're just kind of there as big grind plates. I definitely wouldn't skate without wheels, but I think that's kind of difficult to do. Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't. Now, obviously, if you're skating without walls, and you stub your toe or something like that, and there's a big scratch or a dent in your core, I can't help you with that. You're gonna have to buy new cores that way. But I don't see any reason why they break, why they'd snap, why they'd bend. I mean, this is extruded aluminum, 6100 series aluminum. It's thick, it's serious. I mean, it's built to last. It's a lifetime product. So I don't see any reason why it would be any problem, but I definitely don't recommend it. it looks weird. Mr. Self-Destroy, can you talk about your 3D printers? What tech are they based on? What problems do you foresee 3D printing creating? How far away are we on your average consumer having one in the den? It's a good question. We talk a lot about it on the on the Slack. There's a bunch of different products out there that are companies that make 3D printers. I use a Creality CR10, I think it's called. It is the $300, $350 printer. So it is a 300 by 300 by 400 print area, which means that when I print large frames, because this is 270 and to the edge is like 290, I have to actually rotate them so that it's diagonal. That means that there's enough room for the entire print bed so that it can print. When I print mediums, I can print 2 at a time. So I can print like these 2 frames side by side. There's a lot to talk about with 3D printing, but the technology is very generalized now. Essentially what it does is it takes a 3D model and it determines how big you want for your 3D printer line. So every 3D printer, at least with the progressive 3D printers that I use, it does a line and a line and a line and a line. Each of those lines has a thickness. So typically it's like 0.2 millimeters. And what it does is it looks at your model in the 3D software and it says, okay, at the bottom of the model, give me everything that's on the 0.2 millimeter plane. And then 0.4. And then 0.6. And then 0.8. And it basically goes through plane by plane, step by step, and it prints anything that's there. There are a lot of amazing videos that explain it in much better detail, but the nice thing about 3D printing is the materials that it uses, first of all, are compostable. So they are made of corn. So we're able to print, and if we screw something up, it's not like we're wasting anything. And when you go out and skate a 3D printed wall, after you're done, you can throw it in the compost and it'll break down and you can plant a tree. The also amazing thing about it is that they're so cheap. You know, $350 for a printer. A spool is like $20, $25, and that can get you on average about 4 frames. So individual walls, I can get 4 of these out of a spool. So my cost is like $10. This is why the cost breakdown for printing is going to be a little weird. The cost for materials alone is about $10. So we're able to sell the frame walls at $50 and still give a nice royalty to the designer. There will need to be some money put aside for manufacturing defects. Like if the print messes up or something like that, if there's something weird with the filament, like, you know, waste happens. Sometimes mistakes happen. And then obviously electricity. Printing out a frame costs a couple of bucks. So all of those little numbers go in, and the wear on the machine and getting nozzles and things like that, because we're printing over and over. There is wear on the machines, but ultimately, if you've got a little bit of know-how and some ingenuity, you can get up and running with a 3D printer in an hour or so, and then you can get 3D models, download the core developer kit, drag them over to your software that's a slicer. So we use Cura, which is a slicer. It takes the 3D model in and it goes slice, 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 and it uses each of those slices and it prints the bottom slice and the second slice and the second slice and the second slice, and then at the end you've got a frame. So all in, your investment probably about $400 or so to get yourself a printer and get yourself set up, assuming that you've already got a nice computer that can handle things like that. And then it's really just a lot of trial and error. Dialing new printers in can be difficult, making sure that the alignment is right, making sure they're level. That's where it's not expensive, but it takes experience. So it's not for everyone yet. I feel like there will be a time when 3D printing is for everyone, but you got to ask what things you could do with it. I use my 3D printer for skating parts. I've used it for a few little bits and bobs around the house, like I needed to fix things, or I made a little stand for my phone. Silly stuff like that totally makes sense. Practically though, I don't think people need a 3D printer in their life yet, unless they have a need like this. Great question though. You should definitely download the developer kit and take a look at it when it comes live on Friday. I think you'd be really interested. A lot of those things have web viewers. So we host all of our files on GitHub, which is a code repository. That way we can put all of our files up there. People can leave comments on the files. They can modify the files if they want to, and ask for, you know, us to merge the file changes into the project. So if somebody has an idea for making a file that would be, like if we have a README file, which explains everything about how to print, or everything about how to design frames. And if somebody has some suggestions on text that they'd like to add that would help clarify it, they can say, hey, I'd like to add this. And then we can say, yeah, do it, and click, and it merges together. And then now everybody can access that. So that will be available on Friday. Take a look. You can also go on your computer and take a look at all of the models, axles, wheels. We've got all of our wheels up there. You've got the sample wall that you can drag around and see what 3D modeling is like. And if you're at all interested, like I said earlier, it is an amazing skill to develop. You can get a job if you know what you're doing with this. So definitely something that if you've got a passion for, you should follow that. Great question. MS-DOS-FX, what type of filament are the 3D printed frames? We are using PLA Plus or PLA Max, depends on what it's called. So PLA is the standard. PLA Max includes some different chemicals that help it for rigidity. The problem with PLA, which is kind of like the standard that people print in, is that it can get really brittle. These frames are not brittle, so they will definitely not last as long as a glass-filled nylon frame. They're not designed to. These are designed to be really easy to get on your skates, test them out, see what they feel like. If you skate park, you never have to worry about it. If you go out to a gritty ledge, they'll wear faster than a glass-filled nylon frame. And I'm going to make sure that that's clear on the website, that these frames are disposable, they're compostable, they're designed to be worn down. That's ultimately what they are. That this is your frame. These are your grind plates. So you'll just keep putting new grind plates on as you want to try different colors, different setups, and when you wear through them. PLA Max has been great though. We've been very pleased with the results. Skating them in ledges hasn't been a problem. We don't get the chipping or the cracking that we used to get with PLA. There are different materials out there. We have not tested them, or at least I haven't tested them. I know that people are interested in printing with nylon. The problem that I've seen with nylon is temperature control. Making sure that when you print, they don't get warped or anything. PLA Max is clean. I mean, this is a clean print. It looks great. There's no issues with any of the lines. This is the quality that we'll be shipping, and it'll be available in different colors. So PLA Max is what we're printing with, but there might be future materials if we find a better material. Chris Stewart, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for rollerblading. If you have a question, let me know. Otherwise, money goes to Helmet Initiative. So thank you so much for contributing and getting somebody a helmet. So that's awesome. And hooray for Canada. Kyle, what are those pink and blue wheels over your left shoulder? Oh, these are actually what I'm planning on skating this weekend if I can. These are the Power Slide dual durometer 76s. So they are DEFCON 76s. They are a 78A inside, 85A outside. So the blue is 78. The pink is 85. What that means is they should be nice and squishy, but still give good grip. So kind of like a suspension frame, but without the frame. This would be a nice, smooth ride. At least that's what they're supposed to be. I'm going to try skating them this weekend, I hope. depends on the weather. I want to make sure that I do them justice because they are so beautiful. But yeah, that's what they are. They're the Powerside DD wheels, the 76 millimeter. And yeah, they look great. Pat Mac, what are the t-shirts made of? 100% cotton or a poly blend? They are Gildan Soft Style. They are a 100% cotton. That's what they are. Steve Sells, have you tried Flat 65? If so, how does it compare to the Mega frames that you skated not too long ago? I have not. I haven't made a frame wall for Flat 65 yet. I just haven't had time, to be completely honest. I got so much going on that was the last thing that I was looking for. I'm really curious what Flat 65 is good for. I think that I love they're broken down right now, but I love my 72 mil Aeons for urban skating. I think this is a really great urban setup. I think something like this frame, but for a Flat 65 would be incredible, with really nice lowered protection with wheel bite protection. Maybe not designed for boot down royales, but be able to do all of your groove tricks with reason, and definitely do your soul tricks. Flat 65 skating around town is a really great setup. It's not as good as Flat 72, but I'll take it. And that is hopefully one of the frames that we'll see when the market comes out. I hope that somebody comes out with a Flat 65 frame, because I would love to skate it. I will definitely buy a Flat 65 wall to promote that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Nolan asks, would a core suspension style frame like the CRS or Physics with bushings ever be a possibility? It's a good question. These are set in aluminum. So the frame spacers for the outsides are aluminum, and that's by design. We wanted to make sure that it was rigid for 90% of the different frame, 99% of the different frame designs out there. You could definitely come up with a suspension on the inside that would have a little bit of bushing on the inside, maybe like a 1 mil rocker. So when you land gaps, this would float up a little bit. I don't know. I think that's why we open sourced it, so people can experiment. Definitely with suspension, you need to look into patents. I know that Sprung has a lot of patents around suspension technology for inline skates. I would love to see somebody come out with a suspension frame, though, for the core system. I think that would be amazing. We were talking about that Flat 65. 65's on the outside with a 1 mil rocker that has a suspension, so when you do gaps, got a little bit more oomph to it. I would be down. Pat Winner, do you think you will hit a TTS on the box at the warehouse sometime soon? I think I will hit a TTS on the box. I don't think I will hit it anytime soon. I do my backside the way that I do my sole. So my alley-oop sole. So if I did a TTS, it would be in my normal backside, and it would be my normal switch topsole, I guess. I'm trying to learn switch topsole this next time. If I can get that right leg topsole strength, then I will definitely, just for you, I will try a TTS. Maybe not tomorrow, but in the coming weeks. I got to get that leg strength for right foot topsides. And then if I can do that, then I'll give it a shot. I don't know why people like to wreck me, but I'll try anything. I mean, why not? You only live once, right? Mr. Darren, why are 3D printed parts not as durable as injection molded parts? That's a good question. The materials are different. This is glass-filled nylon. Glass-filled nylon is a very, very durable material. It is what people have used for years and years and years and years and years for making frames. If you tried to use something similar to glass-filled nylon, it would not be possible to 3D print it. You couldn't print glass-filled nylon. You can print nylon, and we are experimenting with nylon, but even still, When you have an injection mold, these little pellets, like if you imagined Tic Tacs, right? A big box of Tic Tacs, and they throw it in this hopper, and it melts it down so that it's like a liquid, and it gets injected just like you're getting a shot, injected into the cavity, and the cavity then is this wet or this liquid that then when it dries and it cures, out comes a solid. The way this works is that it is a single line, like I was talking about the layers. You can kind of see, if you look at the layers, I don't know if the camera's going to be able to pick it up, but you can see the very, very minimal lines. You can see where every layer was printed. That means that they're not bonded as well as a single injection molded part. Will they ever get as good as injection molded parts? Absolutely. I have faith that this technology is the future. The problem is it's also more expensive. An injection molded frame is super easy to do at scale as soon as you have the mold. This is still going to be super expensive, and it's going to take a long time. Like I was saying, this took me 3 days for a pair of these frames. These, not at all. I mean, you could do 1,000 frames in a day. So there's trade-offs for each of the different procedures. The amazing thing about 3D printing is super low minimums. You could make one frame if you wanted to. This would be really expensive if you just made one of them. Great question, though. There's going to be a lot. I love this, that not specifically this, but it feels like we're all thinking about different technologies now, and 3D printing is coming to that point where people are starting to question it. And it's not just for geeks anymore. It's like, what is a 3D printer for? And I hope that this project helps open people's eyes to it, because there is a lot of things that maybe you don't know that you want to get interested in. And this could be the catalyst for that. This could be the reason that you say, I'll invest $350 and get myself a 3D printer. And now you're printing your own frames. And then you start designing your own frames. And now you know how to do 3D modeling. And you can get a job doing CAD design or something. Like, there is potential there for this to be bigger than just putting wheels on your feet. Tim, hey, amazing idea. Curious how long this has been in the works and what inspired the idea. Yeah, so back in 2003, Jess, the founder of Fitty, and I, we came out with the core system, the original design. I don't have that frame with me here, but it was very similar to what we have here. It was a aluminum core that was not extruded. It was cheaper. It was pressed and folded. And then we had walls. And the reason for the aluminum core back then was people were making freestyle frames. So frames with just wheels on the front and the back. And they were making them out of glass-filled nylon, and they kept breaking. So they would break right in the middle. And we were like, well, there's got to be a way. What if we reinforced it with aluminum? So we made the core system. It was reinforced with aluminum, and then it had the glass-filled nylon wall on the outside. And then the dream was, well, if we've got this wall or this core, why couldn't we have different walls that fit on the core? So we came out with the freestyle frame, and then we came out with a balance frame, which was a flat frame. As I got back into rollerblading in 2017, as I was looking at the different options of frames, I was still skating Fitty balance frames. And as I was looking at the different options of frames, I was going back in history and looking at the frames that were tried. And I found a few different frames that did this, but in a very different way. And I kept saying to myself, you know what, there's something here. This was a really good idea. It just needed to be refined a little bit. The extrusion is going to help. 6100 series aluminum is going to help. Open sourcing it. And now that we have 3D printers, back in those days, nobody, except for people who already had money, right, could invest and make their own frames, because you would need to spend $10,000 or whatever to get frames made. That's not realistic for most people. Now, if you've got, a computer, you can do 3D modeling, you can send it off to get printed, or you can buy a printer and print it yourself. And with the core system, you're able to actually skate it. So that was the inspiration behind it. My inspiration is I just want to follow through with the dream. I wanted to do that back in the days, and we were just ahead of the times. There was no technology that enabled people to design frames for it. Things are different now. And, for the last 3 years, I've been working on this off and on, trying to figure out different materials to use, learn 3D printing, learn 3D modeling. And here we are. So it's going to be an interesting year. I do think that I'm always the first to say, my ideas are crazy. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. I've had a lot of people tell me that I'm right. And that is the first time. Not the first time, but typically, my wife is kind of the level setter in our family. And when I give her an idea, she usually comes at me straight and says, this is a bad idea. She saw immediately that this was going to be huge. And I feel like this is going to be huge. Even if we just continue to make these frames, to be able to have that open source and to let people tinker and see what they can come up with, I love it. So great question. I went on a little bit, but I think it's amazing. I'm really excited about it. I cannot wait to see what people come out with. Because I'm just scratching the surface with the frames that I've designed. I'm sure there are people out there with crazy ideas that might be brilliant. Juice System, nice name. How long does it take to CNC machine a frame out of UHMW, for example? That is a good question. Probably after you get the coding done, probably, I would say maybe 20 to 30 minutes of setup. UHMW is more expensive though. And the time that you use on that machine is expensive. So those machines are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars if you get them done professionally. Like you can get cheaper CNC machines, but they're still thousands of dollars, I think. They might be cheaper nowadays especially, but and then you're kind of limited with the amount of things that you can do. So a 3D printer has different constraints. A CNC, you can have multi-axis CNCs now, which allow you to cut in sideways and angles and stuff. Those are expensive. Those are going to cost a lot of money to make. I got some CNC samples made, and they were like $100 a frame. And that wasn't worth the money, especially when you can 3D print and just do it. I will add that UHMW is a great material for grind plates, but it's not a great, and for anti-rocker wheels, but it's not a great material for axle holes. So this area in the frames, you could make this frame wall out of UHMW, and I hope that somebody does. I hope that somebody comes out with a 2-wall with an H-block in the middle that bolts together, and both of the walls are UHMW. I can't see why somebody wouldn't, because that's something that I think people could do. But if you try to make a complete frame out of UHMW, because it is so soft, the material is so soft, while you do repeated skating and jumping and landing gaps and such, the axles will continue to stretch because you've got metal hitting up into the softer plastic, the softer UHMW. And after hitting and hitting and hitting, it will slowly expand and slowly create this oblong circle, which is where you start getting clacky when you're skating. So UHMW isn't the best material. You could definitely get away with it though with the core, because the core is then the metal that's taking over that axle area. So I hope that somebody comes out with a UHMW frame. I think it would be incredible, and I would definitely purchase that. I forgot to ask, in the future will, Nolan says, I forgot to ask, in the future, will an injection mold frame be available with the new groove ever be like a balance frame 2.0? I don't know. I don't want to speculate on what the future looks like, but I think there is a market for the high end and the low end. And I think that this is an expensive frame, and it should be. 120 bucks is a lot of money for some people. Totally understand that. This isn't the frame for everyone. Balance frames are still great. They are 60 bucks and they're half the price as one of these frames. Now, granted, you wear through this and you're done. You can always buy new walls for this. But there is something to be said about the balance frame. It's an amazing design. It works great for what it does. And I absolutely love the balance frame. I think if you are a ledge skater, get yourself a balance frame with some juice blocks. Really can't go wrong. Future though, I don't know what the future holds for injection molded frames. I think it depends on how the core system does. I would love to have more options out there, but I think there also is a balance between what customers want and how confused they get. Like right now we have one frame, balance frames, and people say, hey, what frames do you have? And we say, these are the frames that we have. Then when we introduce a second frame, they're going to say, well, what's the difference? And it's really easy for me to say, these are 120 bucks and they have an aluminum core and a lifetime warranty, and they're designed for like the high-end skater, right? These are the balance frames. They're 60 bucks and you wear through them and you get new frames. Like there's a easy differentiation in the market. If I came out with another injection molded frame, I don't know what difference it would be. Like maybe if it were a flat 65 or flat 60, but then it's competing with the balance frame. So it's all these businessy things that I'm not sure what the future looks like. I don't want to get rid of the balance frame though. I think it definitely serves a purpose as a low rider, low profile, less expensive frame. That's really great. 100 bucks ready to roll. That's a hard bargain to beat. Eric Lopez, how many configurations did you design before you finalized, and will you release those? Probably won't release them because they're not ready. They didn't work, so releasing them doesn't really do much. Countless designs. I mean, we printed, I don't know how many frames. Printed and skated dozens of different designs before we came out with the prime frames the way that they are. The cores came pretty quickly because I knew that I wanted to do something taller, and I wanted it to be as low profile as possible. So we made sure that this core would fit as big of a wheel as possible while still supporting UFS for whatever the future holds. So we wanted to make sure that this core was future proof. It is super rigid. It has this H-block area in the middle. If there's anything that this frame can't do, it's a 3-wheel setup because it has this H-block in the middle. But honestly, I think that might be okay. I don't think anybody wants to skate, 3x65 or 3x75. And if they do, I think this is the wrong market for them. So we worked really hard to make sure that this was as optimized as possible so that more people could design any frame that they wanted. The primes, they took forever. Little tweaks here and there. I think we came out with this initial design pretty quickly, and then it was just like, well, let's move this a little bit. Let's make this chamfer a little bit. I remember, because there's a little bit of, you can't really see it, but there's a little bit of wheel bite. The wheel actually goes into the H-block a little bit here. This was one of the last things that we did because we wanted to make it so that it would fit 60s flat. We actually started designing this as an anti-rocker frame. And we were like, you know what? We should also make sure that it works for flat because most of the team skates anti-rocker. So we were like, well, let's do it. If it doesn't make any difference, like what's the compromise between making a really great anti-rocker frame and making a great flat frame? And turns out, it was a couple more revisions, and now it's a really great flat frame. I probably won't release those though. Again, they're not really releasable. Great question though. I love looking at the progress things as well. I do have some YouTube videos. I think they're on the Fitty Fitty, the Balance Distribution channel, that you can see my testing. So the 3 different stages of testing the core system. So I skated the original cores back in 2018, and that was the first time I skated them, and I made the decision, okay, these are worth bringing back, let's do it. I skated in November of 2019, was it? 2020? It was 2020. And I tested the cores, but with Balance core system frames. So I modified the core system balance walls, the vintage ones, but I had them on the new cores. So I was skating flat 65 with those, and I was skating over at Durham. You should find that video, it's really good. It was a lot of fun too, skating flat 65. I think it's worth doing. Ozai Safai. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize. Ozzy, maybe? Have you tried annealing the 3D printed frames? We have not. I've looked into it, and my concern is that it might lose some of its tolerance. First and foremost, I want to make sure that they're easy to fit on people's cores. And I'm worried that if we did any sort of treatment to it, there might be a little bit of adjustment, and that would be less compatible, I guess. It is something to look into though, especially if it adds durability and if it's not a huge lift. Again, this is super early days for this whole project. We're going to continue to take in feedback and improve our processes as we learn more about how things work and what people want. So annealing definitely is an option. What that basically means is treating the frames either with heat or with chemical so that the bonds, the different layers, they conform a little bit better. They're more smooth. They're more bonded together. It will make it stronger, but it might also impact the dimensions and trade-offs, right? So right now they skate great and they fit great. If we can figure out a way to make them skate better and still fit great, I'm all ears. Great question though. Edward Taylor, have you seen Sandcroft's speaking specs on his new Pro Aeon? No, but it's in my watch later. I haven't had a lot of downtime yet this week to sit back and watch, but it is in my watch later. I saw his little promo edit and it was amazing. Those Aeons are pretty crazy. I didn't think we'd ever see skinned Aeons, and here we are. But yeah, they look great. I think, I don't know that I would buy or be able to pull those off, but he definitely skates well in them. So kudos to Sam. All right, I think we are good. Thank you all so much for spending the time with me. I appreciate every last one of you. Few reminders, we are doing pre-orders for the Prime Frames on Saturday. They will be at 9 a.m. Eastern. Shops should have them as well. If your shop doesn't have them, please get in touch so that we can see if they want to pick them up. I want to make sure that shops have access to these. I don't want to sell out and then shops come and say, hey, I wanted some, and then we say, well, you should have told us. We will also have the Freestyle walls in black and white available for pre-order. We will have bundles with ready-to-roll setups, flat 60-90, and anti-rocker 65 with the UHMW anti-rocker wheels. We'll also have the backpacks. The backpacks are in stock now. So if you place your order on Saturday for a backpack and frames, we will ship the backpack out Monday, and then the frames when they come in May. So you'll get 2 shipments for the price of 1. So you don't have to wait around and wait for the backpack. So if you need them, good to go. We will have them available. Shops will also have backpacks. So if we sell out, they will have backpacks available. All the soft goods will be available as well on Saturday. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks.